What if the father from Mortis didn't erase Anakin's memories? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. As Anakin watches Mortis fade away, the memories the planet left him continue to play in his head, the worst among them being the gift left by the sun. He closes his eyes and tries to shake the images away, but the screams of the younglings and the hateful cries of Obi-Wan continue to run through his mind. He can still hardly believe everything he saw, how far he's fallen, how far the Republic's fallen, and all at the hands of one man, one whose identity continues to elude him. Although there is something familiar about him, Anakin cannot put his finger on it. Obi-Wan notices Anakin's anxiousness and leans over.
You've been rather silent for this trip. Is there something on your mind?
Obi-Wan, I saw things on Mortis. Horrible things. Visions that felt so real. Things that haven't happened. But I'm worried things that might come to pass.
What sort of things?
I saw the Jedi Temple burning. I saw myself surrounded. Younglings. They were terrified of me. And there was more. It was as if everyone around me became an enemy. Even you, Obi-Wan.
Anakin, those were just visions. Shadows conjured by that place to confuse you, to feed your doubts. Mortis may have revealed things to us, but it also warped them. None of that was real.
No. I felt Mortis's visions. These were different. This was as if the Force itself was speaking to me. It mentioned a Dark Lord pulling the strings. I couldn't see his face, but he felt familiar.
A Dark Lord? Anakin, Dooku once told me there was a Sith Lord within the Senate itself. I dismissed it as manipulation, but if you think these visions are real, there might be more to it. Perhaps it is time we begin to look into it.
When they return, the trio try to keep the situation as quiet as possible, but discreetly report everything to the Jedi Council, who shares their suspicion. They begin an investigation into the matter. With the war going on, they try to list down possible suspects based on their stances in the war and their positions in the government. Occasionally they might send Anakin or another trusted Jedi to keep an eye on them and see if they might be the spy. This slowly allows them to eliminate suspects. Soon, the list of potential Sith Lords is reduced to Palpatine's inner circle and a few others. But things take a sudden turn with the trial of Ahsoka for the bombing of the Jedi Temple. Unlike before, this was a direct attack on the Jedi Order, and many suspect it was fueled by the dark side. To their surprise, not only is Ahsoka innocent of these crimes, but the culprit, Barriss Offee, did it as a stand against the dark side. She asserts that the Jedi are no longer following the path of light and have allowed the Sith to manipulate them. While they agree that these are unprecedented times, many Jedi still believe in their righteousness and refuse to believe Barriss. The Senate is more than ready to dismiss this as the simple work of a radical. But as Barriss confesses to everything, Anakin watches from the shadows, frowning as he considers everything she says before disappearing down the halls. Not long after, he watches as Barriss is being led off to prison by a squad of clones led by Commander Stone. Anakin waits for them until they are alone before stepping forward.
Yes, Commander. I'll take it from here. The Council has ordered me to handle her interrogation personally. The Chancellor has given his blessing.
Are you sure, sir? I was ordered personally to escort her to the Coruscant prison.
Stone, the Chancellor has instructed me to oversee these efforts. You have my word. She'll be kept secure.
Very well, General. Stand down, men. The prisoner is in General Skywalker's custody.
The clones step back, leaving Anakin alone with Barriss. The two of them board the gunship alone as they are taken to the jail. Once they are safely in the air, Anakin glares at Barriss.
I want answers, Barriss. You said you attacked the temple to open our eyes. Why? Why go to such extremes?
Because someone had to. The Jedi have lost their way, Anakin. We were supposed to be peacekeepers, defenders of the light. But look at us now. Generals, soldiers in a war we should have never been a part of. I tried everything I could to show the Council, but they wouldn't listen.
You think the Jedi are the ones falling to darkness?
Not all of us, but enough that it worries me. And there's something else. Something much darker. I've felt ripples in the Force, like a shadow stretching out over everything, pulling at us, and keeping us blind.
Like a dark presence from within.
Exactly. The Force has felt twisted, as if it's being corrupted by someone, or something, close.
Do you feel it now, Barris? A presence, here in the Senate, the Temple.
Yes. It's subtle, but I feel it even now. The darkness lurking just beyond our sight, hiding itself.
I feel it too, Barris. And there are some of us not as blinded as you think. Don't worry, we're looking into this. But for now, just remember to keep everything quiet.
Be careful, Anakin. If it's here, it's been waiting for the right moment. And I think that moment is near.
I will.
And Anakin, I'm sorry for what I did. To both Ahsoka and you.
Don't worry. What you told me here might have just helped save the Republic.
As they land in the prison, Anakin delivers Barris to the guards to prevent arousing suspicion. But this news is troubling to the Jedi, who are now convinced there is a Sith Lord in their midst. What's worse, it may have compromised the Jedi Order. Even Obi-Wan is starting to get anxious to figure out the truth. He suggests that they reach out to Dooku and ask for his help, but the Jedi Council rejects this idea, still believing that Dooku cannot be trusted. Meanwhile, Palpatine senses Anakin's concern and personally promises him that he is investigating all of his confidants and ensuring none of them are tainted by the Sith. Yet, sooner do they finish this scandal, a new one emerges. This time, it's from Anakin's unit, as one of his clones kills a Jedi, leading Fives to privately investigate the matter and discover the clone's inhibitor chips. But when he tries to present this case to Palpatine, the Chancellor claims that Fives tried to assassinate him. Palpatine immediately orders Fives to be terminated, saying that he is compromised and that he could be unstable. However, Anakin insists that they should take him alive, especially since his investigation is still underway. He adds that even with this assassination attempt, the inhibitor chips are still worth looking into. Seeing his hold over Anakin weakening, Palpatine urges Anakin to listen to him and reminds him that Fives may pose a threat to the people of Coruscant. Anakin promises to make sure no one gets hurt as he departs, but Palpatine secretly contacts Commander Fox and orders him to kill Fives and ensure Anakin does not interfere, even if it means capturing him. Taking Rex with him, they track Fives to a bar frequented by clones. However, there are a few of them now. The two of them are careful to sneak inside, keeping their weapons ready just in case, as they try to avoid surprising him. They push through the other patrons, who all carefully avoid their gaze. Fives is hunched over a drink, muttering to himself as he seems to be deep in thought. But as they approach, he leaps to his feet, stumbling over the chairs as he whips out his blaster. Around him, a few patrons gasp and hurry to their feet. The bartender ducks into the back room, and Rex orders everyone to clear out.
Don't come any closer. I know the truth. I know what they did to us. The chips, the lies. They're turning us into something we're not, General. They're using us.
Fives, put the blaster down. I'm not here to arrest you. I'm here to help.
Help? How can I trust that? The Chancellor's already tried to silence me once. Why would you be any different?
Because I believe you, Fives. I believe something's wrong, and it's more than just what's in the chips. The Jedi have been investigating this. Your chips might be a part of something larger. Now put the blaster down and we can talk.
Fives, if General Skywalker says he's here to help, then he means it. You can trust him.
Fives' expression softens as he looks at them, and then slowly, he sets his blaster down on the table and slides it toward them.
So, you're not here to stop me?
No, quite the opposite. We've been looking for answers, but we have to be careful. We can't let anyone know you're still investigating. Right now, you need to lay low. Rex will help you look into this. Quietly.
Thank you. I didn't know who I could turn to.
Don't go thanking me yet, because depending on how this turns out, I might need to ask you and Rex to do something incredibly stupid.
Good to see it is you, General.
Suddenly, the sound of boots echoes through the bar. The door is kicked open, and clone troopers shout at one another as they burst inside. At their head is Commander Fox, his blasters trained on Anakin, Rex, and Fives.
General Skywalker, step away from the traitor.
Fox? What is this? I have the situation under control.
Your orders were to terminate ARC Trooper Fives. If you can't do that, then I'll do it for you.
Suddenly, Anakin's lightsaber ignites as he steps behind Fives, while the two clones raise their blasters.
That's not going to happen.
He gets into a defensive position, ready to defend them. Just as the clones advance, a shadow from behind detaches, and the two nearest clones are thrown aside. A shape rushes in and knocks aside the clones as Obi-Wan lands in front of them, his lightsaber ready.
Commander Fox, I'd suggest you reconsider. The last thing you want is to start a fight you cannot win.
Take them.
The clones advance on them, but by now they are completely outmatched. Their blaster fire is easily deflected by Obi-Wan and Anakin, whose lightsabers form an unbreakable wall. The bar is soon filled with deflected lightsabers, something flying back at the troopers who take the blows on their shoulders, legs, and arms. Though the Jedi are careful to avoid killing them, they still clear a path. Behind them, Rex and Fives fire stun rounds and add to the chaos. As their lines thin, Rex drops a smoke grenade and the four of them rush out. Obi-Wan and Rex go in opposite directions as the clones disappear down the alleyway. As they escape the clones, Obi-Wan and Anakin share a look. Obi-Wan explains that he heard about what was happening to Fives from Shaak Ti and realized that this is a case the Jedi could not ignore. With the Ahsoka trial, they were taken completely on the back foot and unable to properly respond. But if they were going to get to the bottom of things, then they would need to be proactive. Unfortunately, with the Republic onto Fives, they still lost their chance to investigate and figure out what was happening. However, this situation has left them beginning to suspect that Palpatine might be the true Sith Lord. He was the one who urged Fives to be eliminated, and he was in a position to demand a military trial for Ahsoka. With these events, it seems like the Sith Lord's plans are moving faster than ever, leaving them with less time to find their identity. But there is no way to fully verify these claims, and if they are wrong, it could mean disaster for the Jedi Order. As the two make their escape, they consider their options. Unfortunately, Obi-Wan sees only one option left: contacting Dooku. He sends a secret message to the Count, taking him up on his offer to help overthrow the Sith Lord as the two go into hiding. Soon after, they receive a reply, simply telling them to meet with a contact that will take them off-world. Only then can they properly discuss their alliance. The two Jedi follow their instructions and escape Coruscant as the smuggler transports them to CIS space, where Dooku picks them up on his ship. The Count is waiting for them aboard the bridge and shakes his head.
I'm sure you both have sensed the dark presence shadowing the Republic. Years ago, I was recruited by a Sith Lord, Darth Sidious. He didn't seek to destroy the Republic outright, but transform it. Through the CIS, we created a threat so vast that it pushed the Republic into a frenzy of militarization, surveillance, and control. All of it. The Clone Wars, the Senate's power grabs, the erosion of freedoms, was to centralize power under Sidious's control.
So that's what all this was? A plan to create chaos and fear so he could seize control? And you helped him?
Yes, though not without reluctance. But think, Anakin. In the old Sith Empire, power was won through brute strength. It failed every time because they ruled openly, and their enemies knew where to strike. The CIS became the perfect boogeyman, scaring people so much they failed to see their hidden knives. Sidious positioned himself as the Republic's savior, gaining trust and power without question.
And that's why the clones have inhibited ships, to ensure their control.
Precisely. The inhibited ships were Sidious's final stroke of genius. I had commissioned them myself when I ordered the clone army.
Then how do we even begin to oppose him? If he's this entrenched, striking at him could tear the galaxy apart.
Strike at him openly, and he shall become a martyr. But I know his plans, and there are opportunities where he is exposed. vulnerable. Here, we can eliminate him before he has a chance to fulfill his plan.
And when will that be?
A few months from now, I will launch an invasion of Coruscant to kidnap the Chancellor. He will be isolated, and that is where we shall strike.
Deep in the dimly lit bunker, Shak Ti, accompanied by Rarun Korub and Fal Mudama, led the Chancellor across the metallic floor, hurrying to try and get him inside as the battle rages around him. The droid forces of the CIS have made considerable progress in the battle, landing legions of droids on the surface. This meant ensuring the Chancellor's safety was imperative. But as they enter the darkened chamber, they ignite their lightsabers at the sound of metallic footsteps. As their lightsabers power up, they find themselves surrounded by a horde of Magna Guards, led by General Grievous.
Jedi, how predictable.
He raises his four arms, each one igniting a lightsaber in a blaze of colors. The Magna Guards advance, brandishing their electrified staves, buzzing as they close in. The trio raise their lightsabers, but before they can react, a burst of electricity throws back the rear lines of the Magna Guards, sending their metallic bodies flying. All of them turn to see Dooku leaping past the droids accompanied by Obi-Wan and Anakin. The Chancellor's eyes widen with confusion showing on his face and mirroring the Jedi and Grievous.
Anakin, Obi-Wan, I was so worried about you when I heard no reports of your whereabouts. Why are you with Dooku?
It's over, Chancellor. We know everything. Or should I say, Darth Sidious.
Chancellor, you've manipulated us all long enough. Make this easy on yourself.
Palpatine's calm demeanor shifts to fury as he glares at Dooku.
You traitor.
The only traitor here is you. The Chancellor is not the man you know. He's betrayed the Republic, and now plots to have you all killed here. Arrest him now so his crimes can be exposed.
Suddenly, the three Jedi turn to face him, their lightsabers held ready as they glare at him.
Palpatine, you have been deemed unfit for service. I suggest you surrender peacefully.
You think I will just quietly go off to die for the likes of you? Grievous, you have one purpose here. Kill the Jedi. All of them. It appears we share that goal.
Indeed.
He lunges forward straight toward Anakin and Obi-Wan, who both slam him against the wall just as Dooku parries an attack from the Chancellor, who reveals his hidden lightsaber. The Magna Guards advance, their staves swinging in tight arcs toward the Jedi, but Shak Ti, Rarun, and Fal are ready. The trio rush forward with practiced precision. Shak Ti leaps forward, slicing through the metal staff of one of the droids before spinning to block another attack, throwing them back. Rarun charges a Magna Guard, his lightsaber humming as he forcefully slams into it, pushing back the droid's staff and managing to slice through its midsection, sending parts of it clattering to the floor. He follows with a powerful yell that shatters the nearest droids. Meanwhile, Fal relies on his strength to barrel through droid ranks, batting aside their staves before tossing them aside or slashing them to pieces. Meanwhile, on the other side of the chamber, Palpatine lunges forward, his lightsaber flashing as he strikes toward Dooku's chest. The Count parries these attacks, and the next few swings as Palpatine bears down on him, his face a mask of rage and betrayal. With each attack, his lightsaber seems to move faster, giving the expert duelist a challenge to halt all his attacks. But Dooku's mind is working, analyzing patterns, and as Palpatine prepares for another attack, Dooku bends down to avoid this, letting it slide past him as he thrusts his lightsaber at Palpatine's thigh. The Chancellor growls in pain. Meanwhile, Grievous is skittering about the walls, just out of reach from Obi-Wan and Anakin's attacks. Obi-Wan instead uses the Force to try and knock him down, hurting him towards Anakin, who picks up an electrostaff and hurls it at the cyborg. His entire body convulses as he drops to the ground. Obi-Wan prepares to deliver the final blow, but Grievous is not out yet. His foot lashes out and grabs Obi-Wan, throwing him to the ground. Anakin, meanwhile, attacks from the other side, trying to strike at his unprotected side, but Grievous sends his lightsaber spinning and prevents Anakin from getting an opening. Grievous is about to press forward when he feels his leg being sliced off by Obi-Wan. This allows Anakin to slip his blade through and strike him across the chest. Sparks fly as Grievous staggers back, snarling in fury, then lunges again. He manages to score a punch across Anakin's stomach and knocks the air out of him, and the Jedi barely avoids being disemboweled as Grievous slashes at him. He's about to lunge at Anakin when Obi-Wan slams a Magnagar staff into his joints, preventing him from leaping off. Obi-Wan tries to strike him again, but Grievous crosses his two arms and blocks his attack. Meanwhile, the other two slash at his gut, but Obi-Wan anticipates this and avoids a more serious injury by pivoting back. Glancing at his leg, Grievous slices it off to free himself and begins crawling away toward the ceiling. The Jedi aren't about to let him get away, as Obi-Wan throws his lightsaber, which slashes two of the general's arms, sending him tumbling to the ground. The pair take this opportunity and drive their lightsabers across his back, but they are cut off by a scream. All around them, the battle isn't going well. Dooku is slowly giving ground to Palpatine, while the other Jedi are being overwhelmed by the Magna Guards. As Dooku tries to strike at Palpatine again, the Sith Lord is ready and lets out a Force shriek. This momentarily shatters the Count's concentration and allows Palpatine to slash him across the chest.
See, your actions do not change a thing, Jedi. I have won.
Not quite. The funny thing is about organizing a battle in the capital city. No one is hunting fugitives.
Suddenly, blaster fire echoes across the room, cutting down the nearest Magna Guards as a squad of clone troopers rush into the tunnels. Most are wearing the red of the Coruscant Guard, but two wear the blue of the 501st, Fives and Rex. At their front is Barriss and Ahsoka.
Fools, this is only your death. Troopers, execute Order 66.
Unfortunately, none of us appear to be receiving a signal.
We make sure to remove our friends' chips before the battle.
Lucky for them, I'm an experienced medic.
Chancellor, you are under arrest.
Seeing their reinforcements, the other Jedi rally as they charge the Magna Guards. Seeing this, Palpatine snarls and unleashes a fork of lightning at Anakin and Obi-Wan, who step back and try to defend. With them on the defensive, Palpatine rushes forward, swinging his lightsaber and letting the dark side pour through him. It builds up in his throat like a snarl, but neither Jedi back down. Instead, they step forward and try to fight through the fear, but this leaves them surrounded by dark energy. Palpatine smiles and continues to rain blows at them, letting the darkness fuel him as each attack sends them both reeling. The Chancellor turns to Obi-Wan first, trying to let the darkness overwhelm him, but when that fails, he instead tries to back Obi-Wan into a corner. When Anakin tries to intervene, Palpatine throws him back with the Force. Obi-Wan struggles to hold these attacks back as Palpatine swings his lightsaber, each one sending sparks across the walls around him, or occasionally cutting his arms as his defenses begin to break. But before he can finish the Jedi Master off, Anakin roars and rushes at him, kicking Palpatine in his injured thigh and sending him crumpling to the ground. Anakin tries to bring his lightsaber down, but Palpatine raises his lightsaber to defend. Anakin struggles to push his blade closer, but the Chancellor laughs.
Yes, give in to your anger.
You tricked me. All this time. Everything you said was manipulation. But you didn't just do that to me. You also did it to them.
He nudges his head towards the corner where the Magna Guards all lay defeated, but Ahsoka and Barriss have their lightsabers raised as the clones aim. They swing their lightsabers down, and the clones unleash a volley of fire on Palpatine, who is unable to move. They strike him across the head and torso, leaving him to gasp out in surprise as the life leaves his body. With the Chancellor, Dooku, and Grievous dead, the droid forces fall into chaos as the remaining Jedi take command. After the battle, Palpatine's death is officially ruled as caused by Grievous, and the real story is buried. However, Dooku did leave all the evidence needed to expose Palpatine and his allies, including programs for the inhibitor chips, which caused enough doubt that Palpatine's supporters are not elected as Chancellor. Instead, Padme is elected, and with the Jedi's backing, she proceeds to begin returning the power to the people and winding down the war effort. The Jedi are gradually phased out of the war, and instead, clone commanders are placed in command after their chips are removed. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.